Here we go, my friends. Time now to say good morning and welcome back to Van Connor, one of the country's leading film critics, the man behind the Off-Screen podcast, which drops later on this morning. I'll tell you about that. But also, the man who puts us 1, 2, 3 Freeview film recommendations for the weekend. I see his 3, raising with 3 of my own, so we give you half a dozen things to watch when there's not the football or you're not near a radio. Van, how you doing, mate? How's your week been?
Oh, good, Mr. Ross. Thanks. I got to see a new Bad Boys movie, so hell of a week, naturally.
And a bit of a spoiler alert, you're recommending another Bad Boys movie, but first, you've got a fantastic film. Don't think it did magically at the box office for Francis Ford Coppola, but I love this movie. Tell us your first recommendation, please.
So, tonight, 6:45 on Film 4. As you pointed out, it's something of a Coppola fest over on Film 4. This was a notorious box office bomb from 1988. This was a passion project of his. Started out as an attempt to make his own Citizen Kane. Wound up becoming closer to a Francis Ford Coppola, Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, kind of a biopic for Preston Tucker. The movie's called Tucker, the Man in His Dream, stars Jeff Bridges as Preston Tucker, the man responsible for is it the Tucker 48?
I think it is. Some people call it the Tuckermobile, didn't they? It was the 48, I think.
Yeah, the classic car. He would become the great cautionary tale of all aspiring businessmen in post-war America, brought to the screen with the glorious cinematography of Vittorio Storaro, who, of course, will go on to work on your pick next as well. He'd win the Oscar for yours, though suddenly not for mine. One of the great cinematographers of our age, did things like Dick Tracy with Warren Beatty, has done some work with Woody Allen in recent years, just one of the great visual artists. The movie is really just this curio. I mean, you see this when it came out, Paul?
I did, actually, yeah. It's kind of, it's like headlines for the man's life, and basically he takes on the big motor companies. He leases this amazing, gigantic former World War II warehouse as his production line, and he's got some revolutionary ideas, some of which have been incorporated into cars now, safety belts, for example, and things like he wants the headlights to move when the car turns, but of course the powers that be elsewhere want to kind of put the kibosh on him, so there's an element of DeLorean in it as well, I think, this film.
Exactly. They kind of portray him as like Steve Jobs before Steve Jobs, but, kind of curtailed before he could be. You can see this tonight, as I say, Film 4, 6:45 p.m. I've got a clip for you. I give you, Jeff Bridges as Tucker.
We're all puffed up with ourselves now because we invented the bomb. Beat the daylights out of the Japanese, the Nazis. But if big business closes the door on the little guy with a new idea, we're not only closing the door on progress, but we're sabotaging everything that we fought for, everything that the country stands for. And one day we're going to find ourselves at the bottom of the heap instead of king of the hill, having no idea how we got there, buying our radios and our cars from our former enemies. I don't believe that's going to happen. I can't believe it, because if I ever stop believing in the plain old common horse sense of the American people, there'd be no way I could get out of bed in the morning.
Little dig that the Japanese car industry was about to kind of swoop down into the American market as well, of course, and things like, the Sony Walkman was on the way. So that's our first recommendation, or certainly Van's, Tucker, the Man in His Dream. You mentioned that my first recommendation immediately follows Tucker. It's 9 o'clock, Film 4 tonight. It's the long version. The final cut. It's 3 hours and 40 minutes. There's ad breaks in there as well, but not too many, I hope. And it is, of course, that masterpiece, Apocalypse Now, based on a novella by Joseph Conrad called Heart of Darkness, which I think Orson Welles wanted to film and couldn't get the budget right, so he made Citizen Kane instead. And it's the story of Colonel Kurtz, played by Marlon Brando, looking nothing like you'd expect. We all know the image now, but at the time it was deeply shocking when he emerges from the kind of jungle darkness, completely bald, looking like a homicidal Uncle Fester. It's got Martin Sheen as the basically the US government-sanctioned army assassin who's being sent upriver because Colonel Kurtz has, not to put too fine a point on it, in the eyes of the military, gone mad. Now, Kurtz reckons he's seeing absolute sanity and saying, if we're going to fight the Viet Cong, we must fight them to extermination. If we're not, we should get out of the country. And, of course, that doesn't go down too well with the powers that be. He's also stirring quotations from T.S. Eliot into the mix. He's also still a lethal killer. The man's It's a dominating. He's not on screen very much, is he, in this Marlon Brando? A lot of the time he's in shadow, and I think he may have even kind of half directed his own parts in the film. He'd worked with Coppola, of course, on The Godfather before then. But this is just, I mean, to say it's a trip sounds trite, but it really is a trip into the heart of darkness, this film. And I'm hoping the long version, I can't remember, I've seen so many versions of it, I'm hoping this is the one that has an extended version of the Playboy bunnies, who are helicoptered into effectively enemy territory to entertain the troops, and then have to be helicoptered out, partly to escape the Viet Cong and partly to escape the very same troops they're meant to entertain. So it's an amazing... Dennis Hopper's in it. Martin Sheen is fantastic in this. And immediately afterwards, there's a documentary about the troubles they had making this film. It's going to star Harvey Keitel. He had a heart attack. Conditions were terrible. Studio lost faith in it. Thankfully, it made money, and it was and still is one of the great masterpieces, I think, of 70s cinema, coming out in 79. This has got to be on everybody's top 10 list, I'd have thought. Certainly top 5 war films ever made, I'd have thought.
Oh, absolutely. And like you say, if you're watching Tucker, one Francis Ford Coppola movie, and you want to see something that's very, very different, Apocalypse Now is the way to go. Francis Ford Coppola is one of the overlooked greats of the last 100 years of cinema. And, yeah, definitely Apocalypse Now. That's top 3 for the guy.
And there are 2 films he made slightly later, both of which I think lost money, that I absolutely love. One I've recommended before. That is The Cotton Club with Richard Gere, about the legendary Harlem nightclub in the gangster era. And also One from the Heart, which is a kind of slightly small-scale musical, but he built basically Las Vegas as a set. And, of course, it bombed at the box office. Tom Waits and Crystal Gale do the soundtrack. If you ever get the chance to see it, folks, it's an amazing, romantic, musical, brilliant film. Anyway, Apocalypse Now. I've got a scene from you now. This is when Martin Sheen is reviewing the man he's been sent to kill, or as they put it in the film, with that wonderful American military kind of euphemisms, terminate with extreme prejudice. A very young Harrison Ford pops up in this film as well. Here is the review of Marlon Brando's Colonel Kurtz, and what a stellar career he had, and how things went slightly dark. Apocalypse Now, 9 o'clock tonight, Film 4.
Did they tell you? They told me that you had gone totally insane. And that your methods were unsound. Are my methods unsound? I don't see any method at all.
There's a speech I wanted to use, and I'd forgotten the sound quality in the film isn't great, because it's a tape recording of Kurtz, when he says, I had a vision or dream of a snail crawling along the blade of a straight razor, crawling and surviving. He says, that's my dream, that's my nightmare. And you kind of think, he probably made that up himself, didn't he, Marlon Brando? Don't you think? Odds are. Anyway, so that's my second recommendation. What's your, it's probably my first recommendation. What's your second recommendation, please, Van?
So 9 o'clock Saturday night on Film 4 is Bad Boys for Life from 2020. Is the third in the series. The fourth is obviously in cinemas and now opened this week. The third installment, which was the first new entry in 17 years, I think at that point, sees the Miami cops, Mike Lowry and Marcus Burnett, Will Smith and Martin Lawrence, respectively, come under the crosshairs of the cartel when Mike is put on the assassination list of a new rising young kingpin, and they have to set out to find out just who's after him and why. It's quite right. It's not as good as the first two, but to be fair, compared to most contemporary action movies, it's still a cut above. It's still got like studio prestige class, what you or I would describe as a good old-fashioned, summer studio tentpole movie. And
it's
Smith
a great rapport between. I mean, they're obviously friends, get on so well, and they just understand instinctively each other's speech with them and stuff. They work brilliantly together, I think. Oh
yeah, of course, and they've got the Bad Boys rap. Naturally, they have to segue into every movie now. But as I say, I've got a clip for you. This is the pair having their differing opinions on interrogation techniques. You can see this Film 4 at 9 o'clock on Saturday nights. Bad Boys for Life.
So we just gonna do a knock and talk. What? Hey, look, all our lives we've been bad boys. All right, now it's time to be good men.
Who in the hell wanna sing that song? Good man, what you gonna do?
Well, maybe if you sing the song like you meant it, it'll catch on. No. Knock and talk.
Yeah, knock, knock.
Wait
Private PD, get down. I need you on your knees with your hands behind your head right now.
I think Friday night you can also catch Bad Boys 2, and I think last night they had the first Bad Boys. They're going to be repeating constantly because the new film's out, I think, this weekend. You've seen it. Thumbs up or thumbs down for you, Van?
Mostly thumbs up.
Good news. Now, my second recommendation is not one. I found it a bit of a skinny day Saturday. I was tempted by Limelight, the Charlie Chaplin talkie, which made a lot of money, and it's one of the only times him and Buster Keaton appear on screen together, about a musical artist, and he falls in love with a ballerina. A bit of a tragic comedy. But I thought, in the end, let's go something pure entertainment from, I think, the year around about the turn of this century. Shanghai Noon, Jackie Chan, Let Me Rock You, Jackie Chan, and also Owen Wilson. And basically, the plot, you could write the plot on the head of a drawing pin. Chinese princess kidnapped, taken to the States, Jackie Chan, martial artist supreme, is sent to get her back. There's kind of a bit of Rush Hour type cultural ignorance going on. Owen Wilson is this bandit outlaw who sort of reluctantly helps him out, but they bond, get on well together. Great comedy duo, the two of them together. Jackie Chan's always fantastically funny, physically as well as verbally, and he's always very self-mocking. Owen Wilson's brilliant in this film, I think. I was wondering what had happened to him, but I think you were saying he had a film out recently with J-Lo. Is that right? I must have missed that one.
Yeah, he was in a rom-com not so long back with J-Lo called Marry Me. I think it's headed to Netflix about 6 months ago or something, but it seems to be doing relatively well for regard.
And like the High Noon, where they nicked the title from, it is a sort of Western. High Noon's very much a Western. Sort of Western, so it ticks my box of trying to get a Western recommendation in every week. 11 o'clock, Saturday night, on the ITV. Don't expect a masterpiece. Do expect what they used to call a romp, I think, on this one. And there is a chunk of the trailer. Here we go.
In a forbidden city, a princess has been kidnapped and taken to America.
Welcome, Princess Pepe.
But a warrior has been sent 5,000 miles to bring her back.
How?
Now,
Stay.
the only help he can find
Reach for the sky, ladies and gentlemen.
is an outlaw
Do exactly as I do it.
who's no help at all.
All right, I'll do it. Do what? Help you rescue Princess Pepe.
Pepe.
We are partners. Shake on it.
You're not in the East, okay? You're not in China. This is the West.
Made enough money to spawn a follow-up called Shanghai Nights. Not as good, and don't expect a masterpiece, but it is good fun, this film. So it's kind of post-pub watching at 11 o'clock Saturday night. And my final recommendation is on Great Movies, which is a free channel, of course, 9 o'clock Sunday. It's the first time that Steven Soderbergh and George Clooney worked together in the adaptation directed by Steven Soderbergh of Elmore Leonard's novel from 96 called Out of Sight. J-Lo is in this one as well. There's a connection between that and Owen Wilson. And basically, George Clooney is the most charming and the most professional bank robber who, through some stupidity involving his motor car, gets caught and sent to prison and is then tasked with a big job, a bank job. Meanwhile, J-Lo is the drawn to him, of course, romantically, as is every single female. When this film came out, every woman on planet Earth, it was compulsory that to fancy George Clooney, whatever their normal sexual inclination. So J-Lo is the kind of Katharine Hepburn cop to his Spencer Tracy bank robber. So it's a will they, won't they? We know they kind of will. It's like a kind of Quentin Tarantino out-and-out comedy almost, this one. So you can imagine this being turned into something like Jackie Brown, only thankfully it's not. Because I love Jackie Brown, but this is something rather different. I think it's the best film they worked on together, Soderbergh and Clooney. I didn't mind the Oceans film, but this is just great fun, works brilliantly. As always with Steven Soderbergh, I mean, an amazing cast of, I wouldn't say supporting actors. They've got Ving Rhames in it, Don Cheadle, Dennis Farina, who's fantastic in everything he does, and Albert Brooks, who I love as an actor, who's great as well, of course, in Drive, as well as the absolute hideous, out-and-out, nasty gang boss. So this film is on 9 o'clock, Sunday night, on Great Movies. You must have enjoyed this when it came. I've not seen this, I think, since I saw it at the cinema way back in 96. Well, no, about the year 2000, I think this was.
This was such an early Clooney banger. He was cool as hell. Honestly, the guy got me carrying a Zippo lighter every day for the rest of my life, even during non-smoking periods, just because of how cool he made it look in this movie.
It cost about $40 million, made twice that back, of course, and cemented a big cinematic partnership between Clooney and Soderbergh. So it's 9 o'clock Sunday night on Great Movies. It's Out of Sight.
You want to sit down and have cocktails with a woman who tried to shoot you.
It was an unusual experience.
Wow, you are mean.
out one last score. Retire to some island, is that the idea?
Partial to mountains myself. If you like islands, we're picking an island.
I'm not exactly a 9 to 5 type.
Who is? Happy birthday.
Oh my God. It's beautiful. Thanks, Dad.
Here, ma'am, let me help you with these.
Now, I didn't ask for your help, so don't expect a tip.
Oh, that's okay, ma'am. I'll just take your car.
I've vertically integrated myself. Now I'm into the occasional grand larceny, home invasion.
Huh. You waved at you?
Couldn't swear to it, but I'm pretty sure he did.
Did you wave back?
Jeez, they're shooting men. Sit down, Dick. They're trying to open up the safe. Now you're made. Ever wear one of these?
I don't ski.
I'm a federal officer. I can't handle myself. Wanted to tussle. We tussled.
Whoops.
I think it's J-Lo's best film as well. I should have mentioned that Michael Keaton and Samuel L. Jackson pop up in it. Michael Keaton kind of reprises the role that he had in Tarantino's Jackie Brown that I mentioned. So it's a kind of it's one big in-joke, but you're let in on the joke. And I just love this film. It's an absolute kind of, again, another romp, but a better one, I think, than Shanghai Noon. And what's your final recommendation for us, please, Van?
So my final one, 2:30. It's also on Film 4. Mine are all on Film 4 this week. So 2:30 Sunday afternoon on Film 4, and best described as Three Amigos in Space. It's Galaxy Quest with Tim Allen, the late great Alan Rickman, Tony Shalhoub, Sigourney Weaver. Basically, they are a TV troupe, a set of actors who starred on a cancelled TV show rather akin to Star Trek. They are abducted by aliens who have intercepted the broadcasts, mistakenly believe that those are real historical documents, that they are real chronicles of things that really happened, and abduct the actors thinking that they can enact their actions from the show and save their alien race. It's a hoot. You know, just brilliantly cast. Alan Rickman as the sort of Spock figure is great. Tim Allen is perfect as a sort of would-be Kirk of it all. There's a little bit of his Buzz Lightyear in there, the sort of, you know, space-brained idiot that is Buzz Lightyear in there, but mostly sort of Shatner parable. And Sigourney Weaver in the tightest, most cleavage-enhanced catsuit you've ever seen, sending up the image of all sci-fi actresses forever. I think even the Star Trek actors call this the best Star Trek movie never made. I love the aliens in this as well are fantastic. It's so sweet and naive. They're a bit like the alien creatures you get in Toy Story in that machine, the vending machine inside the kind of amusement arcade. Yeah, there is something of that. So there's a lot of wackiness, and to say the visual effects hold up. The comedy never stops being funny. The performances are great. It's something you can go back to time and time again. So Sunday afternoon, 2:30 on Film 4. I've got a clip for you. This is from early on. This is Alan Rickman lamenting his thespian dreams.
How did I come to this?
Not again.
I played Richard III.
5 curtain calls.
There were 5 curtain calls. I was an actor once. Damn it! Now look at me. Look at me. I can't go out there and I won't say that stupid line one more time. I can't. I won't.
Well, Alex, at least you had a part. Okay? You had a character people loved. I mean, my TV Guide interview was 6 paragraphs about my boobs and how they fit into my suit. No one even bothered to ask me what I do on the show.
You had the... Wait, I'll think of it.
I repeated the computer, Fred.
I repeated the computer, Fred, but they were happy to cash the checks at the time. Some good recommendations, great recommendations from you, Van, this week. So tell us about this week's off-screen, if you will, please. I'm presuming you're giving the definitive review of Bad Boys Ride or Die. Yes, we will be talking about Bad Boys Ride or Die on Off-Screen at 8 a.m. from 8 a.m. on podcast platforms. We're also talking about, there's a new French shark movie called Under Paris on Netflix this week that's worth talking about. Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey 2 is out as well. I couldn't. I'd rather have Cocaine Bear 2. I love the old Cocaine Bear from Bonkers film. It's all about the knockoff now. Cocaine Crabs from Outer Space, I believe, is the mockbuster. Meet Sharknado. That's what you want, isn't it? Cocaine Crabs meet Sharknado. Exactly. Fantastic stuff then. So make sure you download Off-Screen with Van Connor and his mates Adam and catch Van Connor with me, Paul Ross, each and every Friday on talkSPORT on the Talk. But for the time being, Van, thank you very much indeed, matey. That's a wrap.